Hey, welcome everybody.
Hey, we're back, Mick. Yeah, another one of the, the reviews are absolutely raving. I mean, I've never had so many fans in my life. So,
Yeah, I can't tell whether they're raving fans or they're raving mad, but they're raving.
Oh man, so yeah. What are we talking about today, Mick?
Okay, well, look, there was the little entry. What is execution excellence? And I know it's something that you're very passionate about, and I got to feel as if you're a flooring company, you got to be able to have some kind of execution discipline to be able to stay in business. So I was laboring under the impression that most people have figured this out, but no, Andre, you have words of wisdom and facts and figures to share with us. So tell us a little bit about what
I'm not too sure about words of wisdom and facts and figures, but Mick, we have observed in many environments, right? And yes, of course, if you can't execute, you're not in business. Okay, so get it, all right? Okay, but we are not talking about execution here. This is not what we're
not. Do you mean I got my title slide wrong?
I think you have. We're talking about execution excellence. That's what we're talking about, right? So, and there is a difference. There is a difference. And yes, we have people that can execute all day long, no problem, and it's real. But Mick, let's just think about this for one thing. Is first of all, let's go and talk about the difference between, let's say, the average and the great. So the great are execution.
Would that be like between you and me?
Yeah, me, I'm the great. I got to tell you a quick story. There's a gentleman in DCO, Jesse Trannell, right? And him and I were having a banter. And he said, I want to try and explain the difference between you and me. So he said, me hard, you soft. So that was his explanation. Oh God, we love Jesse, don't we? Anyway, so the key thing here, Mick, is what when we talk about execution excellence, I think let's first start off with the fundamental difference between those organizations who truly deploy, and we're going to call it EE. Don't you like EE? Instead of
EE.
Yeah, we're in the EE journey. You know what I mean? Hey, this is what it's all about, right?
You sound like a poorly horse.
Hey?
You sound like a poorly horse.
That's EO. All right. So execution excellence is
come on, stay on top.
You're in such, I think you need your cup of coffee, really. But what we're wanting to do is look at the difference between those guys that are great and those guys that are average. And the one very strong difference, right, is the whole philosophy around execution versus execution excellence. So in execution excellence, let's talk about what we define as what is execution excellence. And we define execution excellence as doing it right the first time.
Oh, where's the fun in doing it right the first time? All the fun is in fixing things.
Right, but yeah, let's just break that down. Okay, for the highly intelligent that are listening to this, doing it right is execution. Doing it right the first time is execution excellence. That is the fundamental difference, right? So when we think about doing it right and then doing it right the first time, if we do it right the first time and philosophically, that's what we want to do. That's how we do. That's who we are, right? Suddenly you remove all waste, right? And the critical element is the first time. That is part of the critical element, and that automatically, I just see this. Tom McDonald is watching us from Hilton Head, and
now he's comparing it like to golf. You know, when you hit a bad shot, you hit another one, and player B always hits a better shot, but your score's a lot higher if you really count your strokes. So
I mean, why on earth do we have to associate, execution excellence with a friggin' miserable game of golf?
Just because you don't like it. I got to share with the audience. I wanted to introduce Andre to golf. It's one of my passions, and I took him out to the golf course. You know, we got a nice cart, we got it all refreshed, got him a set of golf clubs, and I booked 18 holes. And at the 9-hole turn, he was so miserable that we just had to call it a day. And that's the last time he's ever been on a golf course.
And Mick drives that golf cart. You know the corners when you get to the corner of the bloody path or whatever it is. So he takes the damn golf cart and we're going nice and steady. And when he gets to the corner, he speeds up. So I'm busy holding on to this friggin' golf cart and nothing's going right. I lost like 30 balls. You think that's fun? Well, I mean, how on earth would you say that's fun?
It was very funny.
And then these golfers sit down and they say, "Ooh, what did you do on the 6th hole?" I went home on the 6th hole. That's what I did.
So that wasn't an example of execution excellence. But to your point,
it was for me, that's for sure.
But to your point about, if you do it right, it flows, and it flows from, one stage to the next with minimal waste is where you left it off before we had our little golfing outing there.
Right. So Mick, here's the thing. If you think about it, the issue is, we always use the excuse, well, we completed the project. The customer's happy. And we've got a satisfied customer. We completed the project. What the hell's the problem? Well, the reality is that we landed up fixing 50 different things before we got to that point. And maybe the customer was aware of it, maybe they didn't. But at the end of the day, the more we fix, the more it costs us, the more time, the more effort, the more resources, the more everything. And so many of those fixes are very, very, let's call it avoidable,
Exactly. And just as in terms of a little commercial here, in terms of, Andre and Andre in particular has had much longer view of flooring companies, over 15 years. And, there are some, flooring companies that, we work with and help to get that they're enjoying, operating margins in the teens, right? Over 12%. But we know that the industry average reported is 4%, but we get to look behind the covers. We've seen 60 odd, companies behind the covers, and we know it's lower than that. And there is a big distinction between those, at the very, very low profit margin and the ones that are doing really well. And so we're going to be doing a little series called Rich Owner, Poor Owner, to display the differences between those two. So that's coming up. But one of the critical differentiators is being able to deliver this flow of work, this execution excellence, right the first time. Big critical component. Hey, Andre?
Yeah, no, and I mean, to me, there's two very important benefits of execution excellence. Right, number one, and this, in my opinion, is the critical one. Execution excellence, the philosophy of execution excellence, removes all barriers. So execution excellence by nature is horizontal. It's not vertical. It's horizontal. And any silos that exist in the organization.
I'm going horizontal for this part.
There you are. Nice. Execution excellence is exactly, if you do that too much, maybe I'll have to call a bloody ambulance. So, execution excellence is horizontal, and it is about.
So, Andre, you mentioned the word barriers. Why are the barriers? Where do the barriers exist? Where are these stepping off points or barriers? Tell me about that.
Right, and okay, Mick. So there's barriers between what happens in estimation or pre-construction versus sales, from sales to scheduling, from scheduling to installation or field management, from field management to accounting. Everybody is.
So execution. The execution machine has many different components, which could be people or processes, and so there are handoffs at each of these stages, right?
Right, and now, thank goodness I'm trying to get some bloody sense out of you for a change. Okay, so now you're starting to get into the right direction. So now what we're talking about, execution excellence, is not just putting the floor correctly on the ground, basically on the slab. That's not what it is. It's not. Well, it's a big component, but it really is from the birth to the end, and all over again. And that's why you see an organization that's truly embedded in execution excellence. First of all, you go look at their numbers, and man, there is just an automatic difference. And here's the thing, Mick. We've done this thing, and we've looked at we've got two really good examples where this is the case, and both these examples, right, have profitability numbers consistently, I might say, consistently above 10. All right, and there's no exceptional salespeople, doesn't exist, nothing. There's no exceptional project managers, doesn't exist. There's no exceptional anything. But yet philosophically, that's what they drive. It becomes part of their foundational thinking, and the way that information flows, and the smoothness of that information, and the focus on getting it right the first time is so. It's like it is embedded in the CEOs. That's what the first thing on the agenda is execution excellence. Always. First thing. And the smallest deviations from the way that they see execution excellence is a major issue. It's absolutely strategic. So that's the first thing. First advantage, removing barriers, getting those that you cannot have execution excellence while you've got these embedded barriers. Secondly, execution excellence to me is the ultimate form of customer focus. You cannot be customer focused unless you are execution excellence driven. Now, I know that that's going to be contentious. Okay, I get it. I know I've already had our little tips about this, and but that's.
We haven't had a tiff. It's just that you're wrong.
I understand that. I'm still trying to.
No, so for the benefit of the viewers. So I'm just being a little controversial, just so that we can illuminate the point a little bit more. So if you're focused on execution, on the internal processes of execution, how can you be focused on the external viewpoint of the customer? So that was so there's a little bit of definitional wordplay. The English always like to have a little bit of fun with the wordplay. But what Andre's saying is the capability. If you don't have the capability to execute well, you can't possibly delight the customer at the end of the day. So I might go with you a little bit on that journey, Andre.
Well, Mick, here's the thing. If you think about it, if you speak to these CEOs that I'm referring to, right, they will say part of execution excellence is how you respond to the customer. Mm-hmm. Part of it is the documents that you give to your customer. You do it. Your customer is not responsible for correcting your documentation,
right?
It very much involves the customer, right? And you know what? Here's the thing: you will see how visible that really is. So that's my view. Okay, two things. Number one, it removes the barriers. Number two, it is the ultimate form of customer focus, at least from my side. So that's the first thing. You know what I mean? And remember, it's doing it right the first time. And you think about this: we never have time to do it right the first time, but we always have time to fix it. So how the hell does that work? So that is what we're wanting to, and it does become behavioral. It becomes cultural. It becomes the songbook from the very top to the bottom, and from the very bottom to the top. So those are the two big differences. And then I know you had this other argument. You started saying to me, well, how does this differ? What is your words? Efficiency and what?
Yeah. So when you're talking about execution excellence, are we talking about effectiveness or efficiency? And effectiveness is.
You can bloody see that you're friggin' English. I swear to God, that is a classic example. And I mean, are we talking about effectiveness and efficiency?
Well, let me do the definitions. I know you like definitions, and then we can see which or both might pertain to execution excellence. So effectiveness is doing the right things, and efficiency is doing it right. Okay,
well, they both don't apply, because execution excellence is about doing it right the first time, and you never mentioned the first time, so they're all inefficient.
Oops. Sorry about that.
That's got to be the president or something. I mean, anyway, so
yes, it was one of our viewers who
the raving fans.
Yeah, the raving fan. Yeah.
All right, but yeah, so yeah. I mean, of course, according to these definitions, you want to be efficient and you want to be effective.
Well, no, doing it right the first time is being efficient, right? Because I'm not duplicating and things are flowing effectively. Doing the right things are those things that are ultimately going to delight the customer. So those the things that we focus on. But it's
we're in the flooring business, mate. What we do is we do everything right to get that floor looking like according to that specification. That's what we do. Okay.
Right.
So yeah. Okay. Now, now let's just and we're going to try and make this a little more punchy, a little more, bingo, done, and got a few good takeaways, and because after about half an hour, I mean, people were saying, man, I needed a tranquilizer after that. But anyway,
we are the tranquilizer.
Oh, maybe I've got the efficiency and effectiveness all screwed up. That's possible.
So one of the topics I wanted to cover. We talked about it in the pre-show, and you haven't given me the cue yet, so I might be out of order. But so you could just be growling at me again in a second. But we were talking about why execution excellence is fundamental to being able to grow your business.
Okay, so here's the premise, Mick. The premise is, and I mean, this is one of our belief systems, right? That in order to grow, you have to be able to scale, right? And this word scale is like, I mean, it virtually gets used like Kleenex. I mean, it's just everybody says, well, we're going to scale, and I'm thinking, so what the hell do you mean by that? And really, so if you just boil this down a little bit, just a little bit, right? Okay. What does it truly mean to scale? So from a number viewpoint, Mick, and I mean, and you are the real number guy, yeah. Okay. What is the definition of scale from a number viewpoint?
Oh, I'm glad we rehearsed this because that's a tough question. So, let me just look at my notes.
So if
I
we
know
go,
the answer. I know the answer. Don't give me a chance. I didn't realize there was a time clock on my
and
answer.
Mick, here's the thing: what document do we look at in order to determine whether we're scaling?
We look at the income statement,
Right. Okay.
right?
Good
Because
starting point.
we're going to look at the revenues. So are our revenue? We can see our revenues are growing. But what we want for scaling is our costs. Our cost of goods sold is rising at a lower rate to our revenues increasing. That way we know we're becoming more efficient, we've got execution excellence, and we can truly scale that business. Otherwise, and a lot of our owners are in this position, every time we grow the business, we don't scale, we just have more and more work to do. We get busier and busier and busier, and we're not really making much more money.
Right, absolutely. So our
How did I
ability
do? Scale of 1 to 10 on my answer. What do I get?
yeah, pretty 2 or 3 maybe. Yeah, the ability to grow your revenue greater than the amount that you grow your cost, right? So that is ultimately, and you can look at cost in a total context, right? So from a measurement viewpoint, that is what's scaling, and that you can do that consistently. So there's 2 things there, hey, Mick. Number one, that you can grow revenue. Okay. So the whole process, at least from our perspective, the whole idea of scale, if you can't grow revenue, you can't scale.
Right.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is, the second part of that is that, what do we do mechanically in order to allow that to happen? Okay, so this is where, guys, you want to know about gold? You are about to get the gold right here on this live show on the Numbers by Flooring.
Or Flooring by the Numbers.
Did I get that wrong?
No, you were perfect. You were just pure Andre there.
Right. I mean, actually, you know what? I'm thinking about this now. Don't you think it's the Numbers by Flooring would be a lot more effective? I mean, or efficient. Is it effective or efficient? I'm not too sure. So let's think about this once for 1 second, right? So if you think about it, there are some key components to scale. One is process. Okay. Can you see the other finger?
I can see both fingers.
Two is specialization. Right. So you think about this, guys. I want to scale. I got to have standard process, and I have to have a degree of specialization. But here's the problem, Mick. Standard process on its own is pretty much irrelevant. Specialization on its own is pretty much relevant. The linkage between standard process and specialization is a thing called handoff. Our ability to hand off from one capability to another allows us to do things right the first time. So yes, we do need a degree of specialization. I mean, you can choose, same guy that does everything, okay, versus the ability to specialize. Now, if I say to you, same guy does everything, do you think that's scalable? Do you think that that's so easily repeatable?
He can certainly, one would imagine that he or she would be a master of their craft and they're able to deliver, but there's only one of them and of course, they can't scale. So you do have to have specialization if you want to scale.
Right. You have to have specialization and you have to have standard process. So the ability to have standard process enables you to have handoff with one specialist area to the next, right? So, this is the secret. The secret is, the combination. Now, the key thing is your handoff. Handoff, Mick, as you and I discussed, it really is a partnership. So that's when you're looking at execution excellence as being something horizontal. Show me horizontal again. There you are. Beautiful. Okay. So execution, I mean, I could just see people thinking about, execution excellence and seeing your head in amongst the bloody weeds there. But all right. But that's the thing, hey, Mick. If you think about it, doesn't that really make a lot of sense?
And I think what we talked about the big jobs and big job teams, in the last couple of episodes, and we talked about the information loss when you move from one stage to another, in that whole process. And if you don't have that really clear handoff, then you're going to lose information. You're going to lose what's important to the customer. You've lost some of the technical nuances. You haven't passed on some of the risks, and if you you're just going to compound your errors, and you certainly don't have execution excellence there.
Right. So handoff doesn't mean I throw it over the wall. I think you had a great graphic of that. That's not handoff, right? Handoff is a partnership, and yes, what execution is when you throw it over the wall. What execution excellence is when you have handoff, and that handoff is done through the ability to have a partner between the one process and the next, right? Okay, so that's the critical thing, and when you have that, Mick, and you make that cultural, right? Things change, because the one thing we know is, and this is why we're so wanted. I mean, it's unbelievable. There are posters all over the town saying wanted, numbers by the flooring, right? Okay. And, I mean, it's just like, it's rewards like you can't believe. And
it also says dead or alive. A lot of people want us dead when they talk to us.
Hey, looking at age, it's more dead than alive. Oh man, this is going from worse to I don't know. Anyway, so that's the whole idea. The whole idea is we make that cultural, that standard process, and absolute emphasis around the whole thing of when you want to be specialized, it doesn't mean, here's the thing that worries me a little bit. Specialization doesn't mean that's not my job. Okay, that's not what specialization means. Specialization means we're damn excellent at doing this, and we are very, very good at taking the goodies that we do, and we can move it to the next stage of the thing, so that we can do this really well, and we are fully engaged in the thing. We're watching out for the next guy as well. So it's not about, oh well, I'm specialized, yeah, not my job, right? So we got to be a little bit careful about that. And the cultural part of this is that we reinforce it all the time. We know, lastly, Mick, we know that there is most probably 30%. Think about it this way: in total cost, 30% of waste. So, and as we grow, we just embed more waste. So the way we fix that problem is, hey, I'm going to throw some more bloody resources at it, boy. We're going to put some more people there. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And the guy next door says, oh, I'm real busy. I'm real busy. I need help. I need help. And the salesperson, I need help. Everybody says, I need help. Well, and then we go on this massive, hiring spree, and then the hiring spree becomes a friggin' disaster. And then we think, well, we're scaling. So, what I'm trying to say? It doesn't make sense. And what makes sense is building the foundation. That makes sense, right? I suppose, the last thing that we got to maybe just sort of bring into play. We're doing good, Mick. It's nearly 30 minutes. Hey, that's not bad. I'm watching time. I'm the bloody clock watcher here.
You were off on such a journey there. I didn't know you were watching time, so you were able to talk and watch time at the same time. That's impressive.
Yeah, multitasking is my name, boy. It's Not specialized in that area. That I can tell you right now. But yeah, so I think the last thing is that it is the job of the leader. Execution, excellence. Mick, can I tell you something now? When there is a pause, if you want to give effect, I've got to tell you how to run a good show. You see what I mean? We were busy having a Zoom meeting, just thing. And I said, hey guys, I've got to sign off because I'm the star of the show here and I've got to go and do a couple of hoo-has. Otherwise, things are not going to work out that well in the show, right? Okay. But now when you want to make effect, right, in that thing, right? You want to create, you know what I mean? You give a pause. So the way you do this is through the word anticipation. Do you get it?
Awesome. I'm making notes.
Right. See, now I like that. I like that because now I know I'm adding value. You see, and lastly, the job of execution excellence is the job of the leader. That is where it starts. If the leader doesn't believe it, the organization will never ever follow it.
All right. So we learn.
So, Mick, do you know what my last name is?
Do tell. It says on the screen, but you're going to tell me something different now.
Right. So what I was thinking, because I really wanted to change it. It just says Gene. It's actually genius.
Nobody would argue.
All right, we've had some great fun. Hey guys, for those of you watching, we're here to we're here to educate, we're here to entertain. I mean, it sounds like bloody Jim Cramer.
Hey, I wish we got paid.
Hey, if we had that sort of I think following, I mean, they're not too bad.
Yeah, we got it. We've got it.
We got to have, we've got to build the buttons that he has. I love that. He pushes all these different buttons and it goes, boo and bar and the whole thing. I mean, we've got to have that.
Well, I think we need a band.
And a band.
That's my dream. That's my dream. We have a band for the show. All right. Yeah. So with those parting thoughts, we look forward to it. Hey, and go check out our website. You go to the blog. There's some great material on the blog. All good stuff on the website, flooringbythenumbers.com, not numbersbytheflooring.com. It is flooringbythenumbers.com. And we're going to see you here next week. Don't miss it. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.